Welcome, dive buddies. This is Scuba Goat
Under the Sea,
the podcast for the inquisitive diver.
Hey there, dive buddies, and welcome to the show. My next guest has spent the last 4 years of his life on a beautiful little island situated on the borders of the Komodo National Park. I first visited this resort late last year, where I had arranged a week of diving for myself and 10 of my expedition guests. Now, bearing in mind I've been to quite a few places now, I was expecting the resort to be nice, given the photos and location, but I cannot emphasise how impressed I was with the whole setup. If ever there was a place that needed adding to your bucket list, then the Komodo Resort and Dive Club is definitely it. Now, back to my guest, and with a dive career spanning 10 years, Marcus Blake was the very happy dive operations manager at the resort, and today he joins me to talk about the resort, future plans, and the Komodo National Park. Marcus, welcome to the show. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thank you.
Good. Marcus is the dive operations manager at Komodo Resort and Dive Club, and has been there 4 years, I believe. Is that correct, Marcus?
Yeah, pretty much just under.
And how did you land such a luxurious job?
Yeah, it was a lucky one I got to be honest. Basically, we wanted to move to Komodo and we just emailed everybody in the area, and Komodo Resort got back to us straight away. It was just one of those things. We were looking for a job, they were looking for instructors, and it just, it worked out perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And you say we because you are obviously a couple?
Yes, that's right. Me and Flo.
Yeah, and she's away back in Italy now, yeah?
She's in Italy doing her family thing at the moment. So we'll be back together hopefully in the next 3-4 weeks. She'll fly back to the UK and come over here.
Treat us some. Has she been to Devon yet?
Devon, I don't think so. She lived in London for a long time, but Devon, I don't think she's had the pleasure of visiting yet.
Ah, okay. Well, hopefully she can get there before the winter comes, eh?
That's it.
Okay, Marcus, could you just give us a little bit of a background on how did you get into diving? I mean, everyone's got a weird story of how it's occurred. What's yours?
Well, my friend was a diving instructor in Thailand, in Koh Phi Phi. And I went out there, I guess, when I was 18, 19. I went and saw him, and he basically said to me, look, come out, let's do a DSD. I did it, and then I never thought anything of it. And then one year I just said, look, his name was Joe, I want to get away from the UK, but I want to live out in Asia. And he said to me, look, gave me the contacts of a place in Phi Phi, and I ended up doing my 0 to hero dive masters, and never looked back ever since, really. That was it. I was away.
Yeah. And when was that? How long ago are we talking now?
That was about 10 years ago.
Crikey.
Yeah.
Well, you've aged well. It must be that beach that you've been living on.
No, but I mean, like, it was very lucky because Thailand's main season was was our winter. So I'd do the summer seasons in the UK, mm-hmm. and then run away for the winter. So I did that for years.
And obviously you ended up at Komodo Resort.
Yeah.
Do you want to give us some sort of background on the resort and where it all began?
So the resort itself, the guys that own it, Stefano and Antonello, they were traveling quite extensively around Komodo and Indonesia and so on. But this is back in the days when, there wasn't much tourism going on at all and what have you. Mm. And they came across this island, and actually they met each other in Thailand, and then they realized that they both had this travel lust for Indonesia and what have you, and wanted to start a project there. And it so happened that they started speaking to people in Labuan Bajo. I mean, this is back in the days where it would take 2 days to get from Labuan Bajo to Komodo to go see the dragons,
Right.
You had to swap fishing boats and things like this when they were first traveling around. And they decided that they wanted to start a project there, and it took some time. And then eventually they managed to get the island, Sebayo, and managed mm-hmm. to get the deeds on having that area where the resort is now. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, just started building, really. And, I mean, I don't think they had an idea that it would get so grand as to what it is now. I mean, it's still very small, but, I mean, I think when they started off, it would be a bit of an easier operation and things. and they've just made it into this fantastic place that it is now.
Well, it is, isn't it? I mean, and you touched on a good point there because, albeit it's it feels grand, but on a small scale because I think it's quite nicely spread out. You
Yeah,
know,
that's it.
the bungalows aren't on top of each other, are they?
No, not at all. So I mean, yeah, everyone has their own private spaces, and there's a huge amount of space between the bungalows as well,
Mm,
really.
mm,
And none of them are overlooking each other at
yeah.
all. You know, you have that perfect view of the beach and then overlooking the sea to the Komodo Islands, and then of an evening you get the sunset coming down. So from your balcony is it's quite dreamy, really.
Oh, just a bit. And it's what a
Yeah,
balcony as well. What a balcony. I know
yeah,
last time we were speaking, you were explaining about the bungalows being traditional. What were they? Storage units or something, the style, weren't they?
yeah. The style, that's right. So it's actually a typical Javanese Lombok. I mean, it doesn't sound very beautiful when you say it out loud, but it is. I mean, is these like rice and food storage sort of bungalows that they make, these traditional ones back in the day.
Hmm.
But I mean, it just made it for such a perfect style for these beautiful luxury bungalows that we now have. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Well, the four walls and then this big grand roofing on top.
that's it.
Uh,
I
it
mean,
just
it's
it does feel like a TARDIS when you walk in there, doesn't it?
yeah, exactly. It's as traditional as it gets. You know, it's very in fitting with the place of where you are and stuff. You know, so yeah, they're very beautiful.
Mm. And I noticed that let everyone know that's listening. I took a group there last November, 10 divers, and we spent a week with Marcus and Flo at the resort. It was absolutely sensational. There's no other way to describe it. But I did notice that the staff quarters for yourself and Flo are past the bungalows, and I'm assuming that they put you down there to give you a little bit of exercise to work off some of that fantastic food in the restaurant.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. You need to. Fortunately for us, we're out diving and swimming every day.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
again, we were very lucky as well. Hey, you know, when we were speaking with Stefano and Antonello before, and they were saying to us, you know, you're going to live on this tiny island, and of course we'd never been there before. You're going to live on this tiny island. You've got very, very basic accommodation. You know, now maybe as yourself living and working in Thailand and other places, you know what real basic accommodation is. So
Yeah.
I had this image in my head of just you know, a floor basically with a few wall, like bits of wall and stuff like that. I arrived there and there's this beautiful glass shutting, like double door with views over as well, big balcony, hot water. I was like, come on, this is this is
It-
luxury.
yeah, yeah. It's a hardship, but you're going to endure it for a while.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, couldn't complain about that as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, going back to the food, I mean, as you saw yourself with the food, I mean, we have everything there from Italian to Thai to all your different types of Western food. So yeah, working there and trying to stay fit is it's no easy task.
Yeah, yeah. I can see that. I can see why as
Yeah.
well. I certainly wouldn't be your size. Even if I did 6 months there, I'd be twice the size I am now, I think. But you did. I know we've spoke before about the resort, but you were telling me about the head chef and the owners had sent her to Thailand to do some upskilling.
Yeah, that's right. So Ibuita, she's our head chef on the island. Been with us for quite a while. Um, as I said before, her husband was an Italian chef where she learned a lot of her Italian food from, and of course, being Indonesian, can cook fantastic Indonesian food. And then 3 years ago, Stefano and Antonello sent her to Bangkok, where she went to, forgive me, I can't remember the name, but quite a famous Thai cooking college over there. And she actually spent her holiday, our
Oh.
break from the resort. Yeah, yeah, our break from the resort in Bangkok, learning how to cook great Thai food, and it's great. I mean, someone who's lived in Thailand quite a long time, she really does make very nice food,
Yeah.
Thai food. So yeah,
Oh, I'm not surprised. I mean, she's got some skills. The
yeah, she
food that was
really
coming out
does.
of there, blinding, absolutely
Yeah.
blinding. Um, now, just to just back up a little bit before we start talking about the diving, um, the connections through to getting to the island. We've got to point out that the island itself is a good hour and 15 minutes from Labuan Bajo.
Yeah.
So traveling internationally, there's a couple of locations that we can come through, right?
Yeah, that's right. So to get to Labuan Bajo itself, the best way to get, well, the only two real viable ways to get there is to either fly in through Bali, which is quite common, or from Jakarta. And then, of course, once you arrive in Labuan Bajo Airport, our team are there to pick you up. And then we just try and make everything as easy for you guys, really. You know, we come pick you up at the airport, we take you down, if necessary, to do the registration in our office, which is just opposite the jetty. And then, of course, we take you back to the resort on one of our boats, whether it be, if you're with a group, usually it'll be on one of the big wooden boats, which, yeah, as you said, take about an hour and 15 minutes. Or if you're there as a couple or a family and what have you, and you want to take a private speedboat, it takes 30 minutes then to get to the island. So, yeah, we get you there as quick as we can and as easy as we can as well.
Yeah, yeah. And the advantages as well, though, for being that far from Labuan Bajo is, well, the obvious one being that you're away from the busy crowds in the town. But when it comes to the diving, we've got a good jump start on everybody else, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, you get that extra. I mean, we go back to the wooden boats. Everyone in Labuan Bajo pretty much uses the typical wooden diving boat. So yeah, we get a good hour and a half on top of everyone. So that means that by the time that we arrive and we've started our first dive, normally the other boats start arriving about 30 to 40 minutes even into our first dive, if they arrive on the dive site that we're on. So yeah, we do. We're very lucky in the sense that we are. And of course, the location that we are, we're right on the cusp, on the edge of the national park itself. So, you
Yeah,
know,
because
we're
I
all...
got that I got that wrong last time, didn't I? I thought we were inside the national park, but
That's right.
the
No, we're literally...
closest to. Cool. And okay, let's get in at the deep end and talk about Komodo itself. I mean, it's a huge place, and you guys that know it best have it kind of categorized into north, central, and south. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Take your pick, matey. Where do you want to start? North, south, central?
Let's start with the south end. So the south is actually sort of like the western side of Rincha and Komodo. And these spots are fantastic. I mean, to get there is, you know, you either need a liverboard, but for us, we're fortunate that we've got our big speedboat. I don't think we used it because you came with the group last time, but we have our big speedboat, which can get us from the resort to there within an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Now, the south, not just the diving itself, is such an adventure because you go in and it's like, I think I said before, it's like Jurassic Park. You know, you go in with these huge cliffs either side of you. You got the dragons on the beach. I mean, you really feel like you're in exploration mode.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got this very untouched diving that's down there. I mean, it's just because it's that little bit further than anywhere else. It's pretty untouched down there. Okay. So yeah, the only downside with the south is that during our peak season, is that the south gets the colder water and the less visibility, but then in the lower season, the south becomes this incredible place, you know, with this bright blue, clean water of up to 28, 29 degrees. So yeah, it's a place that I always look forward to during the season to get there, you know, is that we can start getting down there.
Well, I've not had I've not been down the south yet, so obviously I'm going to have to come back and find out what it's all about.
That's right, next time. And then, of course, you've got the central, which is the area that is the most popular. You know, it's where we have a lot of the big names in the dive sites, really. You know, like your Batu Belong, Manta Point, and so on. And this is where you've basically got all these islands in the middle, in the national park and around. Yeah, just fantastic diving there. And the thing with Central is you have everything, something for everyone. You know, is if you have someone that needs to, you know, who doesn't want to be in currents or a rock and roll dive, is you have these amazing dive sites there, like Siaba Bazaar, Turtle City, you know, which is where you go in, and that ticks all the boxes for everyone. You have turtles flying around everywhere, incredible macro sharks, and so on, and in a very easy diving environment. And then you have just opposite it, take for instance, one of my favorite places in Central, Siaba Bazaar, which Siaba Kachil, sorry, which we also affectionately call Formula One, where you just you fly down this stunning reef. So yeah, everything is there in Central for what you need. So yeah, and then of course you've got the north,
Okay.
which is where you have the main three dive sites that certainly a lot of the very experienced divers, and we only take really very experienced divers up there because the conditions up there can be quite rock and roll, as I said. And you've got Crystal Rock, Castle Rock, and the Cauldron that are up there, which are just pretty epic dives. You know, you've done them. You know, it's you go down and with the current, hold on to a pinnacle, and then the whole show with all the big sharks and so on goes on in front, and giant trevallies goes on in front of you. So
that's the dive site that Big Bill.
yes,
We
that's right.
drove down on there. I think there was myself, Bill, and Paul, and one of the dive guides, and we just sat down there, and no one else around. And it's the only time I've seen Bill get a big smile on his face underwater.
Yeah,
He was
fantastic.
over
Just talking about
over.
it now gives me a big smile. It's like oh.
Yeah, it's simply amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And then you've got the Cauldron, as I said, which is, I think, is actually my favorite dive site in Komodo.
Yeah,
Just because you have everything there. You know, you have like very nice, easygoing dive at the beginning. You have all the big fish in there as well with the mantas and everything, but you also towards the end get the strong current as well. So
yeah.
it's just a mixture of everything. So I love it there.
That's great fun. And that
Yeah.
was just mentioning the Cauldron. You posted the video of Engel trying to release the manta that was all caught up yesterday. Was it yesterday or earlier this
Yeah,
week?
right. So Engel and the guys that he was diving with were in there, and of course came across that manta the way it was. And yeah, I mean, what a great you saw the video. I mean, what a great job they did, hanging off it, trying to while it's swimming around, flipping them around, trying to get this rope off. And they did it. I know in the video you don't see, but they did get the rope off
Yeah.
the manta in the end, which was a real great effort to all of them.
Well, it's a good job the manta wasn't much bigger because it was certainly whipping Engel around some, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that's it. It was like a rodeo, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're very proud of Engel for his achievement of saving the manta.
Yeah, I must admit, when I saw the post come up and the video come up, then I've tagged a few shark conservation peeps.
Ah, cool. Yeah.
Well done,
Oh,
Sam.
cool. I'll pass that on. He'll be happy to hear that.
So we've talked about the diving. What's in your opinion? Let's talk about the best and worst time of year to visit.
Basically, I mean, it's all year round in Komodo. However, of course, you do get the best and the high season and the low season. Now, what people call the high season, which is from, let's say, end of May to end of August, is the high season, the real high season. That's actually the best time for the very clear visibility and so on. But for me, is not my favorite time, just because it's when you get more liverboards around, a lot of travelers around there and what have you.
Yeah.
But I'll come back into that in a minute. And then, of course, my favorite time of all is April and November, because you get this very clear, calm conditions there. But also, it's the highest point for the mantas is April, from November to April, even late November to April.
Uh-huh.
is when it's completely full of mantas, and that's when I really, really love it there.
Okay. But
So yeah,
then are the liverboards that you mentioned that are in Komodo, November they move over to, or the majority of them move over to Raja Ampat, and then they come back round about March, April time, don't they?
yeah, that's right. Actually, they usually come back around
Yeah.
late April, early May. So we really get
Okay.
that sort of beginning part where the park is quite empty
Yeah.
from the big liverboards and things like this. But something I'll say, just not to put anyone off talking about there being lots of boats and things like this, is
Mm.
that Komodo have done very well recently with their plans of making it that you have to do the booking system for the dive sites and so on. And as I said before, I mean, I thought it was going to be a nightmare at the beginning, and actually I was a bit against it. And actually, when it came into plan and we started doing it, and of course you get new to a new system, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like at Batu Belong, this small rock, this small pinnacle in the middle, is instead of having 5 or 6 boats there, now you only can have one that's there, and
Mm.
everybody has to book their times there. So, it's really made a difference in that sense as well, of making
Yeah.
it not feeling like it's crowded.
Well, it certainly worked when we were there. I mean, obviously, there's not as many boats in November as what you would get in high season, but there was certainly enough boats on the water to cause a busy dive site if everyone had freedom of movement.
Yeah.
So from our perspective, it didn't feel as though it was a busy location whatsoever, which was great.
Yeah, and again, it just comes down to the great that system, the booking system as well. And again, the thing that we have is the advantage of being out early, which means that when everybody else is doing their surface interval, we're ready to jump again. So again, it all works out very well for
Yeah,
us at Komodo Resort. It works out very nicely for us to
yeah,
try and get everything when there's not so many people around.
yeah. And it's quite clear as well that the boats, the captains, the dive crews, they're talking to one another. They're not, they're not ignorant to the boat next to them. Everyone seems to be communicating and operating as a team.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, everybody knows everybody. That they all know each other there, and so on. And we do it often as well. I mean, if we arrive at a dive site, let's say we said that we're going to go and do this dive site now, and we get there and we do see that there's quite a few boats. I mean, our aim isn't just to take you and get you in the water and stuff like this.
Mm.
We ourselves also want to enjoy the dive. That's why we do it as well.
Mm.
So then we'll go somewhere where we think that that everybody would enjoy it more,
Yeah,
and get more out of it. Not just to get a dive, but to enjoy the dive itself.
yeah, yeah,
So in that sense, we are quite flexible with how we manage where we go and who we see and where we
yeah,
jump, depending on how many boats are there and what have you. So
yeah.
yeah.
So how many in total are on the dive team at the resort? Because it's a big bunch, isn't it?
So there's 6 of us. There's 6 of us in total. So we've got 3 instructors, me, Flo, and Jello.
Hmm.
We're the 3 instructors on the island. And then we've got our main dive master team, Hanky, um, Rayfan, and Engel.
Yep.
And then, of course, you probably met our 2 little dive master trainees, Akri and Van.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you want, there's 8 of us then,
Yeah.
really. So yeah, there's plenty of us to go around. Yeah, we're a good team.
I had the pleasure of Acri leading me on a dive when I went doing some macro shooting. And keen as mustard he is. It's lovely
Yeah,
to
he
see.
is. He's a little star. I say he's like a little crowd pleaser. You bring Acri on the boat, that big smile, that long hair and stuff, and yeah,
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
loves him. So
Oh,
yeah,
it's an excellent team. And
yeah,
the excitement of being on board aside, back at the resort, when we come out from having our fill of food and head down to the open bar on the beach, and the guys are there waiting to chat and talk about the day and talk about what's happening the next day.
yeah.
Usually it's I'm done after 12, 13 hours diving. I just want to go to bed. But these guys are there just wanting to talk about it and crack on some more.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Matt, these guys don't have to be there. If they don't want to
Mm.
be, they can go off and sit at the back in the staff area or in their rooms and do what or play on their phones and do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I mean, this is something for the resort itself. I mean, you can really see that everyone is, you know, as we said before, is very happy to be there,
Mm.
and the team really, they love sitting around at the bar, chatting with their guests and things like this, and talking about the diving, and then they share videos, and then they show videos from before, and so it's a really cool environment. And yeah, I love the fact that, you know, as I just said, they don't have to be there, but they love to
Mm.
actually congregate and hang out with each other, but not just each other, but with their guests of the day as well. You know, you
Yeah.
don't see that in a lot of other places.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's really,
I mean, it's nothing massively new. I mean, there's plenty of places that do, have staff that do this and want to do it, but it's difficult to explain. There's actually a feeling that they're of happiness. You know,
yeah, that's it.
they're content with their lot, and their lot is diving and
Yeah,
talking to divers. You know.
yeah, I mean, they love it, and sharing stories and things like this, and
Mm.
yeah, they're very happy. And as I can't, you know, I can't praise them enough at what a good team they all
For
are.
sure, for sure.
You know,
It's a fantastic little machine. It all
yeah.
works very, very well, and
And thank
everyone
you for
seems to
that.
know
It's
exactly what they're doing, and it all fits like a glove. It's very,
yeah,
very well done.
and thank you for saying that. You know, we're you know, we're very proud of the way that we do things. You know, everyone's very professional in wanting to do that. So it's always really nice to get that feedback, especially for myself. You know, of working there and so on, and hearing about my team, and not only my team but everybody else. You know, it's not
Mm.
just us. There's everybody else, and everybody knows what they're doing, and everybody really commits to what they're doing. And
Yeah,
and it's because everyone's really happy to be there, you know, and give everything they can to make sure everybody enjoys their holiday and their trip and so on. So yeah, thank you for
mm.
that. It's very nice to hear such good things.
Oh, you make sure you tell them, and I will be back for sure, because it's leaving that island. The first thing I wanted to do was make sure that I've got a booking for the next year, but of course,
Yeah,
COVID kicked in, so it's kind of
a
destroyed
spanner
us
in
all for the time being.
the threw a spanner in the works a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's also touch on this sexy little boat that they've got now as well.
Ah, yeah. So not so little, really.
Yeah,
Did
exactly.
you see it when you were there?
I didn't know. I saw the photos go up about a couple of days after I left.
Okay, so maybe it was still just finishing off its refit. So look, I say we, the resort,
Mm,
bought a very, very nice big boat that was originally one of these big Finzi cargo boats
mm.
um, that obviously they transformed into a liverboard. I mean, for anyone listening, if they want to go onto our website and have a look, you'll get an idea of the sort of style that the boat is now.
Mm.
But something that they really wanted to make sure is they didn't lose any of the luxury side of it. You know, it's a boat that's purely built purely built for cruising around and being comfortable.
Mm.
So what you've got is these four master bedrooms at the back that have their own balcony. The four master bedroom. I mean, it's fantastic. These bedrooms are bigger than a lot of hotel rooms, you know, which
Yeah,
is something you don't get on liverboards very often. Is
yeah.
the big comfy room, and as I said, big private bathrooms, the workbenches, areas for cameras because we get a lot of photographers
Hmm.
as well. So the four master bedrooms, they're sort of situated at the very back with your balcony um, overlooking from the back of the boat.
Yeah.
And then we've got the two single rooms, which both have two beds in there. Actually, all the rooms have a big sofa, which can be doubled up as a sofa bed. So if you're traveling with a third person or what have you,
These are really
um,
big rooms then if we've got a sofa in a liverboard room.
they're huge. Honestly,
Wow.
Matt, when the boat came and I went inside these rooms, I was like, wow. So yeah, I mean, as I said, and then of course you've got this huge living room downstairs. It's very, very nice, very comfortable. Again, we're going to have a very good chef that's being trained by Ibiuta and what have you.
Mm.
So again, will be very nice food that's on the boat. And then something that our boat is doing as well, the Komodo Sea Dragon, is that instead of having the diving stuff on the liveaboard itself, the liveaboard is actually going to be strictly for living on. We're going to have a donny, so a second boat that follows the boat.
Yeah.
And what this is going to have all the diving stuff on there. So it's going to be where all your equipment is, all the tanks are. There'll be a whole nother team that are on that boat. But this also makes things a lot easier and better for us and for the customers as well. You know, it's going to have the compressors on there, which means of an evening when we're filling tanks, you know, you're not sat in your room. You know, I'm not saying all liveaboards, but on some liveaboards, you're sat there and you have the drumming noise of the compressors and things like this. This has all been taken away by having this second boat that follows the liveaboard. And I mean, again, that's not a small boat either. That's that's a very big, comfortable boat that's following it. So it's going to be a very comfortable and very nice boat to be going out on.
Sounds fantastic. And
and
what's the plans? Have you got particular routes planned for her?
We do. We've got really, really nice itineraries made up already. So of course, Komodo will be where we'll be hanging out quite a lot, but we're also going to be offering trips down to some of the less explored places. I know you've been to Lambata and also through to Alor and going around Alor, which we just did a trip. We literally just did those trips to go and recce it and have a look on another boat. We went down there to have a look and find these little islands and things like this. And so, yeah, that trip will be fantastic. Alor, Lambata, and Komodo.
Yeah. And needless to say, you know, I was very jealous seeing your posts going up about the trip across to Alor. But I did question you about one image or a little bit of short video of a whale.
Yes.
And it wasn't actually one whale that you saw on the trip, was it?
No, we were very lucky. So the video that you saw, and that was day 2.
Yeah.
In the morning, just coming out of the bay of Alor, we came out. I just saw the fluke go up, and the next thing I know is we've got this huge blue whale just off the bow of the boat. So I mean, that was an incredibly lucky sight.
Yeah.
But then the other days we had the pilot whales that were behaving like dolphins, playing off the bow of the boat, and we also saw the sperm whale, which came up, gave us a show, and then off into the deep it went. So yeah, we were very, very lucky. But it sounds like as well these things, you know, it's a real highway for the whales there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I did it. Was it before or after? Oh, it was just before coming to you guys, and I think it was a little bit too early. Missed out, didn't see any whales at all. Plenty of dolphins, but Alor, what a location! Some of those dives.
It is, yeah. So I mean, for that boat to do both those places, Komodo and Alor, is whoever works on that boat is very lucky.
Yes,
on those trips is very, very lucky. I'm very jealous.
I think I need to come and have a look at that one.
Yes, yeah, you should really.
So, what's next for you, Marcus? I know the world's in turmoil, and you've flicked back to the UK at the moment, and I believe the resort is closed for a little while.
So first, the resort's actually open at the moment. Okay. We've actually got 2 guests there that are open. Komodo's in phase 2 of its Corona plan. Phase 2, I can't remember the exact things about it, but basically, long story short, is we can have customers that arrive, of course, sticking to all the COVID rules. So that's going on now. So I'm happy that there's people there, and it gives and it also gives the boys the chance to go out and do some diving and so on. And of course, the resort to have people there is great. For me, my plan now is, I've been away for a long time from home. Yeah. I've decided that I'm going to take a year out of the diving industry, and I've decided that I want to spend some time with my family, with my friends back here in the UK, and then I'll go back out to Indonesia, or I'll head back out somewhere diving again. Yeah. I mean, obviously, when the world gets a little bit, when things get better, but yeah.
You'll probably end up being cruise director of the new Liverpool from Komodo Dive Resort.
Oh, never say never. It has crossed
Exactly.
my mind several times. Because, when I first arrived there, Matt, I mean, I was just, this liverboard was being built, and I was like, oh God, this is going to be a dream job.
Yeah.
And then, of course, living on a small island for quite some time. I mean, as much as I loved it, you do have to get away. So I was very envious and very sad that it arrived as I left. So never say never. Stefano and Antonello, if they have me back one day.
Yeah. So now the title of the podcast is Scuba Goat. It's my opinion that everyone's got their own goat place to go diving. So from the years of diving that you've done, for the locations that you've been to, have a wee think and let me know what's the greatest dive you've had of all time and where was it?
Oh God, I mean, it's so difficult to say. I mean, I've been very fortunate in the places I've been. I mean, for sure, the Galapagos, that's somewhere that I think for anyone that's been there or anything, is you come away from that, especially from, what was the island called?
Wolf Island?
The Arch.
Oh, Darwin.
Darwin's Arch, that's it. I mean, you come away from that. I saw my first whale shark. I had the huge schools of hammerheads and so on there. So there, I mean, and then as I came back up on the boat, we had the orcas around the boat. So I think, yeah, that was something that is hard to beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darwin's Arch, yeah.
Oh, I was meant to be there in October this year, but we've had to put it back to next year now. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yes. And for you, what's your favourite place?
It's part of the reasons that I started the podcast, actually, along with ISO boredom. But that age-old question you always get asked by guests.
Yeah,
but
that's it.
now I'm asking everyone else what it is. I think, in my opinion, it's got to be down to what the individual wants to see. Now, we mentioned Galapagos, and yeah, I love Galapagos because of the sharks and the quantity. It's just insane. But I wouldn't necessarily want to go there to do macro hunting.
No, of course not.
And conversely, I'd go to Lembeh to avoid sharks and sea critters. So for me, it's a very, very difficult question of what is the greatest that I've had. I've been on a dive site in Thailand in the Seminole Islands. It's not exactly spectacular, Koh Bon, but this particular dive, I was with 4 guests. There was no one else in the water, and we had manta, whale shark, sailfish.
Oh, okay, so a perfect day's diving.
Yeah, it was just insane, and these guys that I had have got all of them got under 100 dives, and we got back on the boat and 24 other people not seeing anything. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great feeling when that happens.
Yeah. So greatest of all time, I've had many, many fantastic dives. Really have.
Yeah.
And trying to pick one is extremely difficult.
It is difficult.
Yeah.
The Galapagos was the one I just picked quickly because it is somewhere that was very special. But yeah, you've dived in some beautiful spots, hey? In Papua New Guinea, I remember you saying that you were there. Well, that's high on my list.
See, I've not even touched on that, and exploring, being given the freedom to go out and explore and find new reefs, and naming reefs after the local guys to put their family name on it. Everything's got its own special element. But Papua New Guinea, you've got to go.
One day for sure.
Next time I've got an expedition going, mate.
You're a star. I'd be very keen.
Yeah, you cover your costs, and I'd take you. I'd love to show you the country.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yes, I'll take you up on that for sure.
Good.
Not throwing that opportunity away at all.
I don't blame you. No, just take out a large mortgage, and you can come for.
That's it. Probably find a job here first for a little while.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll wrap it up. But before we go, if you just give us a lowdown on how people can get in touch with the social media for the resort, and indeed, follow some of those marvelous photos you've been throwing up. What's the
Thank
social
you.
links?
So look, we've got Facebook, obviously, which is Komodo Resort, and then as well we've got Instagram, which is Komodo Resort. We're very good at always sticking up as many photos as possible of trips that we do, or of the marine life of the resort itself. So we're very active on social media. So yeah, please follow us on those. And then of course, if you have any queries, our website as well. We just had a brand new website all done up, which is done in several languages now, and has our recent promo videos and things like this. So that gives you a really good feel for how the resort is and what have you.
Yeah.
So yeah, please follow us and go to the website. And of course, if anyone has any questions, to just sling us an email really, or get in touch.
Yeah. Okay, Marcus. Well, thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your morning. And it's looking like it's time for tea this side of the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and thank you again, Matt. Lovely to speak to you.
You too, brother. Speak
Cheers,
soon.
buddy.
This is Scuba Goat
Under the sea.
the podcast for the inquisitive diver.